Hello, how's everyone doing out there? It is Darren and Joe over at Real Estate Reality. It's Thursday, 2 p.m. Thanks for joining us today. And perhaps thanks for joining us later this week. You can always tune into this whenever you'd like. Darren, how you doing out there, man?
Good. Loving the weather change.
Yeah.
Staying
We, we,
busy.
we pulled out a blanket. We're like, oh,
I
yeah.
know. It felt pretty damn good, I must say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just, continually. I don't think I've been in this much of like evaluation, dive deep,
Yeah.
decipher the market in a long time, man. It's
Yeah.
just, and it's challenging. I like that challenge. I
Yeah.
feel like we thrive in those moments. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
lots of great questions from clients, and we don't always have the answers immediately, but we seek them, and I enjoy
Yeah.
it. I really do.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're reminding me, and we really haven't like pushed this or delved on it. But for those that are listening, for those that are listening later this week, if you do have a question, let us know. If you just want to email us, we can go over it during the show. But a lot of people have the same questions, don't they, Darren?
sure they do. Yeah,
So share,
yeah,
please
yeah,
share.
yeah.
And hey, we haven't had a guest on the show for like a year and a half or two. We'd love to see you online. Here we go.
Right. Yeah, I'm
All right.
tired of
Well,
listening
look.
to just you, Joe.
All right. I'm sick of listening to myself.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're going to do the usual. We're going to talk about a topic that we feel is timely. For this week, it is Airbnbust. Is a question mark, so we'll talk about that. We're going to go through the usual of seller wins, buyer wins, based on the last 7 days. And then Darren's going to pick out some actives from the last 7 days that he feels are interesting to look at. So, and then we're going to go through, of course, Art Unite. So, why don't we just start with Art Unite? That's always good. And let me do my disclaimer. Darren Hubert and Joe Cloninger are real estate agents at Avenue 8 under the Urban Hillsides brand. All opinions expressed by Urban Hillsides or guests on this video are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Avenue 8. You should not treat any opinion expressed by Urban Hillsides as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of Urban Hillsides team's opinions. This video is for informational purposes only. So, Darren, the reason why I want to start with Art Unite is that, I think you know this. We always feel a little behind the wheel on this event because, oh, by the way, we also do real estate. But Art Unite is our end of the year community give back event that we organize, and we do it on a skeleton crew. Me being one of those skeletons. So, I've had a couple good talks this morning with some people that are contributing. And the first one that I want to announce is, and I didn't know this about her, but Gloria Molina is going to be part of the show. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Gloria creates quilts. I guess she just had a show in Paris, I was told. And she also works on purses. I'm sure it's a similar design of quilting. But very nice lady. She's going to contribute, and she's going to help us spread the word. And I also have another creator, Tom Lamb Maps. So if you go to tomlambmaps.com, Tom lived in LA, our area, Highland Park, for about 20 years and creates localized maps. And he now lives in New Mexico, but he has a map business of sorts all around the nation, and he is going to contribute some of his local maps to our raffle. So I thought that was great. And we were just talking about this, and how timely is it? He said he does custom maps for realtors. So here's your new house with an arrow, and here's the surrounding area with the businesses and whatever else, on the landscape there is. And it's a pretty good price. It was like $70. I was like, you know what? I think that's something Darren would like. So we might use
Cool.
Tom Lamb Maps. Yeah. So that's some of the big news. We've got about 45 pieces, 50 pieces. We're about 22 days away from it all. So if you are an artist, please get at least your submission in. You can drop off the art later. If you're an audience member or a bidder, go ahead and RSVP. that is open now at artunite.org. So check it all out. And I guess we have an introduction, don't we, later tonight, Darren? Silver Lake Chamber and Echo
Sure.
Park Chamber, to get even more people, more businesses, local businesses involved. And just to end it out, I want to thank our current sponsors, Masa of Echo Park, Casita del Campo, the Estates Group for wine, Los Angeles Ale Works. It's a brewery and tap room. And gosh, who else? I'm forgetting somebody.
The East Sider.
The East Sider, and most importantly, of course, Urban Hillsides. Aren't those guys good?
Well, let's thank both Silver Lake and Echo Park Chambers for also
Yes.
promoting it and letting us speak on behalf of the event. Yeah.
Yes. Everybody should be thanked. Because, yeah, this really is about community and giving back from everyone's side. Okay, so that's Art Unite. Check it out, guys. I'll keep pushing that for the next 22 days. Let me go ahead, Darren. I guess if we want to start with, some market news, let me pull up our Mortgage News Daily website. Just bear with me here. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. And let's see.
So as you pull that up, Joe, I will say, I met with
Yeah.
a client this morning, and she read two articles, one in the LA Times, one in the Washington Post, saying interest rates move above 7% for the first time since 2003, I think it was 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
I didn't read the articles, but I'm like, wow. Based on our site here, we've been above 7% for a while, man.
Yeah.
So, and I know people are getting better rates, but we're just looking at a monitor and the flow, but they have been above 7%. Jumbos are lower. Jumbos are a full point lower. But 7.04, what you're showing right there, is actually coming down for a higher number of 7.35.
Right. Yeah, here it's saying 7.37 was the high.
Right.
And of course, the memories, 3.07% was the low. I don't know how far back that is. But
Right.
but yeah, here's the basic lay of the land across the nation, 7.04 30-year fixed. Darren, I know you always point out 30-year jumbo because we have higher prices here, 6.05%. It was 6.25, so yeah, it is trending down a bit. And then 5-1 ARMs, 6.75%.
Right. The short term is you're not getting a break on the arms.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. Not much. Well, I have to say, Avenue 8, we do a sales meeting every Monday, and a lot of the talk for agents and our managing directors was about how to skillfully use and identify what can work and what cannot work for your client. And there are some options, aren't there? So don't think it's a dead market. There might be something your agent and or your lender can help you with.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a time. Not only are we continuously trying to gather information and identify options, but the same needs to happen for both buyers and sellers to be more creative, be more open to ideas. If a real estate transaction is in your near future.
Yeah. All right. Anything else about mortgage rates that?
I will say one more thing, and that is, in my conversations this morning, and I think leading up to it, we're calling this, where a lot of people are on the sidelines, and I think a lot of them are on the sidelines because they're just waiting to see where this interest rate thing is going to stop, where it's going to flatten out, where it's going to find some stability. And I think in reality, wherever it finds stability, people are going to digest that, and then we're going to have more activity. People are going to move forward, one way or the other, good or bad, mark it down, mark it up. But while they're in flux, there's just a lot of people that are waiting. So continue to watch rates. That's why we're announcing it on every show.
Yeah. But yeah, just to look at this daily survey, it's great to see it has been trending down over the last 5 days.
Yeah, really surprised to see those articles today. LA Times said Washington.
That was like a week or two ago.
2 weeks ago, at least.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So there it is, your mortgage rate watch with us. Now, to nuzzle down and get a better read on the market, I will go ahead and open up our. Oh, what is that? Is that your bed coming? Oh, wow.
I don't know.
um, we're going to now go to the local market. Let me pull up seller wins and buyer wins. Let's see here. There it is. Oh, let's do updated. Okay, I'll go ahead and focus in on this a bit more so we can all see it. Oops, a little bit more that way. There we go. So yeah, as far as days on market, the median days on market is still 14 days. That was same as last week. And again, uh, the market still seems strong in our Northeast Los Angeles area,
Yeah,
doesn't it, Darren?
it does for sure. Um, I do think I'll continue to identify it. The ones that are selling way over are usually
Mm,
priced low at this point.
yep,
But the market is still strong. Properties are still moving.
yep, yep, yep. Well, yeah, one thing, and we'll kind of notice this a bit in the seller and buyer wins as we go through them. But yeah, there's some really high priced properties that took some discounts. But for the most part, yeah, even on the medium priced, let's say, million or so, still had some increases. But I think you're
Yeah,
right. Realistic prices, realistic sellers, realistic buyers. That's great. Okay. Well, look, I want to break into this with just a quick congrats, and then we'll go to seller wins. Just a quick congrats to our clients. Speaking of winning in the market, Melissa and Matt, I've got them in here somewhere. Oh, hold on. There they are. Um, what a great story, right? To share with people. And it really is what we're talking about in terms of realistic buyers, realistic sellers. And I'd like to think good agents. Uh, but fresh from Canada, I kind of wrote the story in here. I don't know if you saw it, Darren. Fresh from Canada, have some great positions at a prestigious university. I think they knew what they wanted, but really didn't know the area very well. We're living on the west side, so really didn't know Northeast LA. But, we probably went out, maybe a week or so with them on a couple trips. And their first offer, accepted.
yeah,
Amazing. Really
yeah. It
amazing.
was amazing, and I will say you're correct, Joe. That realistic expectations, um, kind of on both sides, and there
Mm.
was a good collaboration between everyone involved to help get it done.
Yeah.
Um, so, and with that said, a
Mhm.
recent move in for them after some property improvements, which we helped
Yeah.
facilitate. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, being from Canada, Vancouver, they wanted nature and they still love the city. And I think this might have been one of the few places that really worked for them area wise.
It's a special place in
Yeah,
Montecito
Montecito Heights.
Heights.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's a very safe neighborhood. It's hilly.
yeah,
It's got views. It's got a lot of trees. And there's still some good value there. We've been saying this for 5, 6 years at least.
yeah.
I'm excited every time we sell something up there. I really am. We have quite a community up there at this point.
True, very true. All right, so congrats to them. That worked out very nicely in this market. Okay, let me go ahead and move on to uh, seller wins.
We can do our article, Joe.
Oh, yeah, why not? Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
Completely forgot. Thanks for keeping me on the straight and narrow.
sure.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Airbnb bust, and this is. Bear with me here. Gosh, that went right by me. I wanted to finish up quick, didn't I? Let's go to the article. And this is from Inman.com. Again, a real estate industry site for agents and brokers. And let me go ahead and read the article. The Airbnbust is upon us, is the quote. A tweet hints at Airbnb's fall. But is it right? Social media users claim short-term rental bookings are collapsing, but the data tells another story. Inman reached out to Airbnb and to some experts who follow the short-term rental space. So let me go here. All right. The tweet was shared more than 8,000 times. More than 53,000 people liked it. Scores replied. So what did this viral social media post have to say? Simple. The Airbnbust is upon us. The tweet, originally posted on October 16th, specifically shares an image of a post from what appears to be a Facebook group for Airbnb hosts. The post shows two different comments claiming that there has recently been a drop-off in short-term rental bookings. Most of the responses lean toward Schadenfreude, with a multitude of people criticizing Airbnb hosts for excessive fees, outlandish cleaning requirements, and gobbling up housing stock. The angst captured in the comments has become so significant that it has spilled over and earned news coverage of its own. So here it is. The tweet started, the Airbnbust is upon us. And somebody clipped here. What's going on with Airbnb? No bookings at all. Has anyone seen a huge increase or decrease in bookings over the last 3 or 4 months? We went from at least 50% occupancy to literally zero the last 2 months. I'm just curious if this is something only going on with my property or if other people are seeing similar things. I'm in Palm Springs. Where are you located? So 179 comments from that. But yeah, it continues on. A number of other similar posts have also recently popped up on platforms such as TikTok. And amid the pile-on, the theory that Airbnb and its hosts are in trouble has become widespread on social media. All of this begs the question, is Airbnb experiencing a bust? Are bookings down? Are hosts facing some sort of apocalypse? Inman reached out to Airbnb and to a handful of experts who follow the short-term rental space, and the short answer is no. There does not appear to be some sort of bust happening. Anecdotal stories of lower booking numbers notwithstanding, overall Airbnb is still generally having a good year. That said, there are some changing dynamics in the market, and there are real reasons some individual hosts might actually be seeing a dip in bookings right now. Here's what you need to know. Is the Airbnb bust a real thing? To get to the bottom of the alleged bust, Inman first contacted Airbnb. In an emailed statement, a spokesperson subsequently pointed to the company's latest earnings report and said guest demand on Airbnb was as high as ever in Q2, and Airbnb significantly outperformed the rest of the travel industry. The numbers from the latest earnings report do show that in the second quarter of this year, the company's booked nights and experiences, the latter of which are activities hosted by locals, were higher than in any other quarter in the company's past. The numbers are also show that 75% of newly activated and booked listings were snatched up by travelers in the second quarter of this year at a faster rate than they were a year ago. These numbers suggest that at least during the second quarter of this year, which spanned from April through June, Airbnb bookings were apparently doing well. But those numbers also may not satisfy everyone because in the time since the second quarter, the economy has shifted significantly. Interest rates are way up, as is inflation, and the housing market has slowed down. To understand that, or what has been happening more recently, Inman spoke with Jamie Lane, Vice President of Research at AirDNA, a major short-term rental tracking and data firm, and Lane said that Airbnb's good year has continued through the present. Demand is up. Bookings are higher than they've ever been during the month of September. We're not seeing any drop in booking activity compared to what we're typically seeing at this time. A report from the AirDNA further shows that in September, travelers spent a collective total of 18.4 million nights in short-term rentals. The report further notes that September saw a new record for performance in the post-pandemic period, with the total demand nights exceeding September 2019 levels by 26.6%. Other companies are seeing similar trends. Aaron Rue, principal at RET Ventures, which invests in a number of startups, including Turnover B&B, a company that provides cleaning services and software for tens of thousands of short-term rentals, Rue told Inman that Turnover B&B not only isn't seeing any sort of bust, but in fact, the company's data shows that this month is going to be their strongest month ever, even with seasonality. They're seeing the same thing as AirDNA, Rue added. So why are some hosts allegedly seeing fewer bookings? The takeaway from Lane and Rue is that overall there doesn't appear to be a bust happening, but that doesn't mean that for certain hosts it can't feel like a bust. Lane said that part of what is happening is that some hosts might be experiencing some seasonality, wherein bookings were up in the summer but are down in the fall. There's a big drop in demand from July to September and from July to October, he explained. Also, some meaningful supply and demand dynamics are at play. Lane explained that the number of short-term rentals has increased lately, which means that while the overall number of bookings is up, on average, everyone is individually each seeing their bookings go down. Because supply grew faster than demand, we saw overall occupancy decline, Lane explained. A useful analogy might be a grocery store that offers bread from 3 different companies. If the store sells bread from 6 companies, the grocery store will probably end up with more sales. But the individual bread companies might end up with fewer each. In this case, Airbnb is the grocery store and the hosts are the bread companies. Rue mentioned a similar trend, saying that due to an increase in the supply of short-term rentals, bookings per host are slightly down. Still, the operative word there is slightly. AirDNA data shows that occupancy stood at 58.1% in September. That's a mere 1.2% dip compared to the same period last year, and it's actually up 11.1% compared to 2019. The takeaway then is that seasonality, rising supply, and last year's boom may all be shaping the immediate term experiences of some hosts, even as the overall trend has been an upward one. What about the fees and cleaning requirements that everyone hates? A big part of the social media discussion over the so-called Airbnb bust involves complaints about cleaning requirements and excessive fees. The general idea is that requiring guests to clean and pay fees is driving people away from Airbnbs toward hotels. Airbnb nowadays really feels like a scam, one person replied to the viral tweet. Greedy house owners squeezing out as much as they can with doing less than minimum. Over $100 per night in fees, another wrote. Just not a reasonable proposition. What the is a service fee anyway? They also expect you to clean dishes, throw the garbage, do laundry. Yet a third complained, should I also cook a 3-course meal before I leave? The numbers on demand and occupancy above suggest that overall these complaints have translated into a broad movement away from Airbnb. But as always, there are winners and losers. For example, Lane noted that thanks to a large supply, there's a lot of competition for accommodating guests right now. Now I think hosts are learning that if they want to book out their home, they've got to try a bit harder than they did last year. Cleaning and fees play a part in trying harder, with Lane noting that hosts who include their fees up front are doing better. Hosts that do that are seeing significantly higher bookings than hosts who don't, because that's what guests want. Transparency, of course. Lane also said properties with amenities, such as pools, good views, are doing better than more generic listings. Rue made a similar point about amenities acting as strong selling points, and adding that there seems to be a widening gap between amateur and small-time hosts and professional hosts with differentiated Airbnbs. One self-described host who replied to the original viral tweet also mentioned that cutting back on cleaning and maintenance requirements prompted bookings to go up. Saw a decrease in listings this summer, so I dropped a few of the more extreme chore requirements, i.e. mow the lawn, wow, brush, vacuum, the pool, and the bookings went back to normal. No kidding.
Wow.
The market is still strong, but you can't expect renters to do as much. No kidding. The end of the coronavirus pandemic may also simply be shifting preferences. Peter Rex is the founder of CEO of property management and software company Rex. Among other things, Rex's company operates both short-term rentals and a hotel. And he said some of the more remote listings that became popular during the pandemic might be losing their appeal as the health crisis fades and people return to cities. We've seen a rejiggering with where people are going. Rex also said some hosts are realizing that operating a short-term rental is more work than they realized, and that it costs more money, prompting them, in turn, to potentially raise their prices. Running a hotel, it's a tremendous amount of work, and so is running an Airbnb. All of which is to say that fees and cleaning requirements may not be sinking the Airbnb business model, but along with shifting tastes, such factors could be helping sort the industry, driving guests to certain types of units over others. And the result of all these trends is that some consumers are fed up, and some hosts perhaps aren't seeing the kind of bookings they might have wanted. Nevertheless, all of the experts who spoke with Inman for this story indicated they expected the short-term rental concept to stick around. The business model has already survived through the multiple economic cycles. Wired even asked back in 2020, is this the end of Airbnb? And so far, the numbers suggest it's only continuing to grow. Short-term rentals, Rex concluded, are not going away. That was a long one.
That was a
What
long
do you have?
article, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. What do you have to say about all that? It touched on a lot of points, and I know you're an Airbnb host. I've been one in the past. What do you say to all that?
Yeah. Well, I think the approach to the article was good. It's correct, that there's becoming an oversupply.
Mm-hmm.
Like much in real estate, it tends to maybe overshoot initially and then find its center and then overshoot
Yeah.
again. Also, those that are better at it will be more successful. So, and
Right.
it's a different phase. We are coming out of a pandemic environment
Mm-hmm.
where gathering was different, how people gathered, where they gathered.
Yeah.
So trends are
Y-
adjusting.
You know, as I
Um,
as I as I read this, it kind of reminded me. So we have some friends. I think I've told you about them. They have a great place, Constellation Creek. Just a little plug for those guys. In just north of Truckee, Sierraville is the name of the little community, and Babbling Brook couldn't be any better than. I mean, it's an amazing place. They've got like 7 or 8 different places, but when we visited them, I think that was back in June or July. They were kind of complaining that things were not as good as before because they would get that San Francisco to the country flow, and that's kind of what they were talking about here, huh?
totally. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
in my place, that's a traditional
Mm-hmm.
vacation spot. It was LA
Mm-hmm.
and even San Diego to the
Wow.
mountains.
Right.
So it slowed a bit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do think some people got on planes and went to different destinations. Maybe
Yeah.
cities had more activity than outlying areas. Um, Longer term Airbnbs have actually improved dramatically. So when a company like Airbnb and AirDNA gives numbers, they're not always those, short vacation getaways because there's a
Yeah.
lot of business travel. There are a lot of people who are embracing the work from home dynamic
Yeah.
and just traveling all over
Yeah.
the place and working in different
Yeah.
destinations.
Yeah.
That's changed the long term dynamic in
Yeah.
Airbnb. But I will say the one thing, like any other real estate related consideration or purchase,
Mm-hmm.
um, those that understand the business better, those that are more experienced,
Mm.
those that can manage better are going to have a more successful model. There's some marketing, there's some design involved in
Well,
Airbnb.
when we talked about this yesterday, just as a refresher for us, I think you hit it right on the head, and it says a lot. But it's a business, and businesses change, and
Sure.
you have to adapt to all these things. And I think for a lot of people that run Airbnbs, they're not business people. And this is a shock to them that it shouldn't remain constant,
Right.
the supply and demand. Yeah, it is a business. I
And
think the other thing, go ahead.
like any other business, the bigger your margins, and this is, I
Right.
think, quite relevant, the bigger your margins, the more likely you are to be successful long term. And what I specifically mean by that is
Uh-huh.
that if you've purchased recently and you need a high return to keep the place and make it work, well, you're getting kind of upset now because it's not as
Right.
consistent as it was at one time. If you
You're gonna
purchased a
have to pull
while
out some
back,
money. Yeah.
exactly, and you have just more of a margin, you don't have as big of a mortgage to sustain
Yeah.
the space,
Right.
then you could ride the wave and make the adjustments. Real estate's always that way. If you're
Yeah.
maxed out, you're on the edge.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could be pushed over that edge.
Yeah. Well, you said yesterday, right? I mean, the second or third homes, we might start seeing some fallout from this kind of thing. People not able
Yeah,
to pay that
it's
mortgage because
it's
of
happening, slowing down a bit. Values are
yeah,
pulling back a little bit. It just the second,
yeah. Do you
third
see
home
it up there?
markets,
Do you see it
yes,
up there? Where
for
you do?
sure.
Oh
They
wow,
always are the first to pull back, you
got it.
know. Then the suburbs pull back. Then the city. We
Hmm.
get it last in the city. So your comment that
Right,
we keep like kind of being a little surprised every week that wow,
right,
our local city market is still holding up. It's
right.
really strong still,
Yeah,
and those are not the first markets to pull back. It is the second,
got it.
the suburbs first.
Yeah.
Um,
The other observation I wanted to point out is because I see it on my wife's TikTok, I see it on Instagram, other social media. Um, there is this idea, and trust me, I will look for it and I will do the side hustle. I feel like we all need side hustles, but this idea again of kind of get rich quick with Airbnb management or it's everywhere. It's rife and it's really stale, right? Because I know you've been doing Airbnb for, God, man, could it be close to 10 years now? I don't
it's
know.
been more than 10 years.
Has it? Oh
Yes,
God.
before
But
Airbnb existed, we were doing short-term rentals.
all of a sudden it's a trend and everybody thinks they can make a ton of money on it. No, there's work involved. It is a business, and
Uh,
yeah,
there are a lot of nuances. I mean, it's even they talk about real estate and everybody wants to get into real estate, buy and sell, and they're going to get
yeah,
rich, right?
right,
Airbnb is even more than just dealing with real estate. It
yeah.
is
Oh
even
God, yeah,
more.
yeah.
It's hard. Uh,
Wait. This will be super quick, and I know we need to move on. But what has been your most bizarre Airbnb story that you've had to deal with? I think I remember one, but what would that be? And I'll share you mine
I
because I don't
haven't
think I've ever
had
told you this.
horrific situations, and trust me, it's all worked for me just fine. But the
Good.
one I had was, um, yeah, it's got to be the one that stands out for sure. Is I had some influencers staying in our unit.
Oh.
Um, and they kept having problems, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
man, what's going on here? They're
Uh
having
huh.
electrical problems. um,
Okay.
I don't understand why the breakers are tripping. I'm walking around. Are you guys using blow dryers, heaters? Electric heat is the worst thing on an electrical system, draws a lot of current. No,
Right.
I'm walking around every room I'm looking in corners. Maybe they don't even know they're using a heater, electric heater. But in the end,
Yeah.
I'm like, fine, I'm going to send in here. I'm going to rewire this. I'm going to fix it.
Oh my God.
I did so. And then I ended up going in, I don't know, a week or two later.
Uh huh.
And I'm like, fine, I'm doing a walkthrough to prep for you to leave. And in this case, I went in the half bathroom, which I did not go in previously.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Where
the
was it?
only
What was
space I
it?
didn't go in.
Yeah.
They had chicklings on the floor. They were using the whole half bath with new chicklings and heat lamps,
Ah,
keeping
yeah,
them warm in the
yeah.
winter. So the bathroom was drawing massive current, blowing the breakers.
Wow.
And
Yeah. And they wouldn't
no,
mention that, of course. Why
of
would they?
course not. So I ended up recouping that money, not willingly from them.
Right.
And I've had some struggles with Airbnb, but I did get the money through
Wow.
Airbnb for that improvement. But yeah, raising chicklings in an Airbnb.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you two of mine super quick. So one was, and this is, I'm sure you knew this, but it didn't really dawn on us, but no alcohol in the room. There was a guy who was an addict or a former alcoholic, and it was just too much for him to deal with. So we pulled the bottles away from him. That was pretty mellow, understandable. But the other thing was we had a couple who came in very enthusiastic, very nice, very millennial, and she was a life coach. I think she was 25, so I don't know what that means coaching wise. But the other thing was he was in venture capital. Dot dot dot. It's like okay, whatever. Um, they were a little finicky, but I found out later, maybe he was taking drugs. He came up missing, and he came up missing. You know the 7-Eleven over on Rowena and Hillhurst, or not
Yes.
Hillhurst,
No.
Rowena, and
Hyperion.
anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, ended up disappeared. I don't know if they. I think they did find him a week later, but that was weird. And then when I looked into his background, he was a scam artist. He had all sort, along with his mother who lived in Utah. They were complete criminals who were just kind of on the lam from Airbnb to Airbnb. And I was like, oh man, I'm just glad it couldn't have been worse, you know. But that was pretty weird. So anyway, so to sum it up, what Airbnb? It's a business. Get used to it.
Well, it is a business, and it's a business that could be risky if you don't pay attention
Uh,
to it. It's not a business you can be successful at just kind of as a
right.
you know a
No seat in the
part-time
pants.
gig.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those comments you're reading, maybe some of those people are that way. They're giving you half service, but I can assure you, like our cleaning fees, man,
Mm-hmm.
our space is immaculate, and it takes time to clean our space. So
Yeah,
we're not making any
I
money
believe it.
off that stuff. It's
Yeah,
now the other side of that, the service fees, all that. That's Airbnb.
yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't distinguish between what they send the host and what they keep for themselves. That's very convenient for them
Right.
to
Is it
not do
still
that.
around 8-9%, or has it gone up a little when you
Um,
when you include?
it's in that range. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus they have the hotel tax on top of that, which
Oh,
goes to the
right.
city.
Yeah.
That doesn't come to us either.
Yeah.
So the costs are expensive. I'm not disputing that for a moment, but
Yeah.
you know, then my comment always to people making those like they're angry. They're angry because they're having to pay that cost. They don't have to pay it. Go somewhere else. Don't stay there.
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
know.
Make a choice. Yeah.
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 Totally.
Okay. Well, great. Let me go ahead and move on to let's see, seller wins and buyer wins, and I will open up.
We're gonna have to shorten this, Joe. We've been chatting for a
Yeah.
while.
No problem. All right. So let's go to duh, 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 here. I'm going to start. Well, we'll do like 3 instead of 4. Okay, so we'll go to 1306 North Coronado Street. And let's see here. There are some really nice homes this week. Let's see. Um, yeah. Okay. So this is 1306 North Coronado Street. This is Silver Lake still, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,094 square feet. Sold for $1,500,000, and it's on a 3,613 square foot lot. Let's see here. 14 days on the market, and this is brought to us by Victor Montesinos, Thais Alberto, and Tracy Doe. And on the buy side, Jake Lazare and Jennifer Parker Stanton for the buyers. And for me, let's see here, just very charming. Not a big property, but wow, they got quite a bit for that, 1,500,000. And if I look real quick, the see 1,149,000 was the list, sold at 1,500,000, $351,000 increase, 131% of list over of list. 14 days on the market to sell. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a charming space. It shows
Yeah.
well. I think it probably should have been listed in the 1.3 to 1.4
Yeah.
range, so it
Yeah.
was
That would have been.
underpriced on the listing
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
If there's a kicker, and there often is, when something sells way over, the
Yeah.
garage has been converted to a studio with
Yeah.
a bathroom,
Yeah.
and may or may not be a little kitchenette, but it's got a full bathroom. It's a nice detached space. I assume most likely not part of the square footage. So that's a nice
Right.
bonus.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Charming. Okay. Next, and let me just get myself set up here a little better. One of these I thought was really, maybe it's Randall. I hope it's Randall. Randall. There. Okay. It's not Randall. All right. Okay, this is 1420 Randall Court. This listed at 1,699,000, landed at 1,950,000 for a $251,000 increase. Let's see here. Bear with me. Oh, yeah, we're gonna do that. And yeah, this was percentage 115%. So let me go ahead and read the stats. 1420 Randall Court. This is Mount Washington, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,809 square feet of living space on a 10,275 square foot lot. This took 14 days on the market. And let's see, Courtney Polis and John Hu Ryan Lee were the selling agents. And on the buy side, Lauren Kincaid Wong. So congrats to them. I hope they have chickens. That was nice to see.
Yeah, it's a very well lived in space. Once you're inside the gates, the curb appeal isn't amazing on the outside of the fence. It's a garage and a wall. But once you're in there, there's some very nice outdoor destinations. There's some nice views.
Yeah.
There's a nice master with a walk-in closet. It's modernized. There's an indoor-outdoor vibe with the indoor trees with natural light, and it looks great. There's some nice finishes.
Shows really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Bear with here. Okay. Next, we'll go to Merced Street. This is 2648 Merced Street. This started at $1,075,000, landed at $1,270,000 for a $195,000 increase. Percentage 118% of list price. Let's see here. Gosh, there were like two I really wanted to see. Oh, this is it. Okay. So, we'll look at the pictures, but I thought there were some really nice design touches here. 2648 Merced Street. This is Cypress Park. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,136 square feet of living space. $1,270,000 sold. It's on a 4,000 square foot lot, and this took 13 days on the market to sell. This is brought to us by Rob Kallick, Mary Regal, and on the buy side, Joe Custer represented the buyer. So, oops, sorry, I'm blocking. Do you see what I mean? I don't know if you looked at some of the.
I am. So this one as well has a detached, finished garage with a bathroom. Mm-hmm. It's a true pattern. There are some interesting things. They put some energy into the outdoor space, which I always like seeing. I think it's really worth investing.
Yeah, some of that hardscape.
Yeah, exactly.
Hardscape is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and that shows well. There's some interesting things that were kind of questionable, like some of the sinks, the size of the granite on the waterfall, and but there is some nice stuff. So get it. I think this is a good price for this neighborhood. And it's one of those where they basically put a 6-foot fence around the property to separate it from the street so that you have your little sanctuary once you're inside.
So I like the kitchen. There were some good things there. What is that paint effect that they're using, like in the kitchen and in the living room? Is there a name for it? You're much better at this than me.
Yeah, I've never used it. And I personally,
it's almost like a watercolor.
It's
kind of a wash. What is it?
Oh God, it has a name, and I don't know it either, Joe.
Yeah,
it's a texturing look to give it depth. Usually, you'll find it in more Spanishy houses, and they're trying to bring in some Spanish elements here, but it's clearly not a true Spanish.
Got it.
It's just a mid-century house. It's kind of, the design elements are kind of mixed up. You got some Spanish, you got,
It's true.
They're not consistent to me.
Yeah. It kind of starts with that door. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
but it
Okay. Well,
worked.
great.
Worked for someone.
Yeah. 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 All right. I am going to kind of dive over a lot of our buyer wins, but one that I really wanted to show you was because we mentioned it in the past is this one in Los Feliz. So discounts are not just for the regular folks; it's for the rich folks too. This is 2600 Wild Oak Drive. This, I believe, started at 21,995,000, Darren, when we saw it, and it adjusted to 19,490,000 and sold for 17,500,000. That's a good discount. So 2600 Wild Oak Drive. This is Los Feliz, more towards Hollywood Hills area. 4-bedroom, 4-bath. Does not say the square footage. I don't see it, but the lot size 638,758 square feet. 17,500,000. I know, right? 98 days on the market. We talked about this 98 days ago.
It's your own little mountain in Los Angeles, man.
It's really impressive.
Yeah.
This is on the seller side, represented by Joyce Ray, who is a big legend in real estate here in LA, and Timothy D. Prezito, I think one of her partners there. And then on the buy side, Lauren Reichenberg.
Wow.
Right? We have some understanding of Lauren Reichenberg, and
Sure.
she pulled out a buyer that had $17,500,000 to spend. Good for her. I don't think there's any other property like this anywhere close to Los Feliz. It's pretty unique.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the price definitely reflects that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that is the buyer win. And we'll just move on to some actives. Let's see here.
Cool.
Get it. All right. Okay. Tell me what you need to go to, and I will go.
Okay. Let's look at this house. Is great. Another house sold on this street, 3313 Descanso Drive.
3313 Descanso.
We're going to have a listing a few blocks over that does not have the old world charm that this one does, but similar in scale and size and neighborhood.
That's beautiful.
But it's just a beautiful place. Yeah.
All right. Well, 3313 Descanso Drive. This is Silver Lake, 4-bedroom, 5 baths, 2,866 square feet of living space. On the market at $2,200,000. This is on a 3,117 square foot lot. Wow. So much house. And they have opens this Saturday and Sunday, 2 to 5. 3 days on the market so far. And who is presenting this?
It's the Marinos.
The Marinos. What
a
great listing for them. That's awesome.
We should go let them know ours is coming up around the corner too. Maybe they'll have a buyer.
Look at all these great details, man. I love this.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space.
Good Lord. Wow. Whoa, look at that bathroom. The details. Wow. Okay. And the dumbwaiter. That's awesome. Okay, next. What do you got out there?
Let's look at 715 North Hoover.
Okay. Okay. It's coming. It is. All right.
This is a zip code that often gets overlooked. It's the fringe edge of Silver Lake in 9029.
Ah, okay. 715 North Hoover Street, Silver Lake, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,088 square feet, 999,000. It's on a 4,200 square foot lot. Saturday and Sunday opens 1 to 4. 1 day on the market. And this is brought to us by Natalie Stern-Traven and Catherine Gallivan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great spot. It's a great property. Good price as well.
What do you where do you think this one will land? Just slightly above this?
Hoover is a semi-busy street, so you have to be willing to tolerate that.
Right.
But it does have, in addition to a charming house, it has a two-car detached garage, which
Mm.
offers a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
So I think it'll go up. I'm not exactly sure how much, but I think it'll go
Yeah.
up.
Well, we'll find out. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Next, and maybe that's it at 2:54 p.m. What else you got?
Let me see if we're only doing one more.
All right, you do too. I'm good or whatever.
Yeah, I get it. Um, well, let's do the house that we've sold before then. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
1100 Montecito Drive.
Oh, hold on. Oh, oops. What's that? 1100 Montecito Drive. Okay. Okay. Mm-mm. All right. Now, I know we talked about this a little bit. I didn't even think about it, but yeah, I think this is somebody in the design community, right? An architect. So I'm eager to see what it looks like.
Made some nice improvements. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we sold this, was it 4 or 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And then we sold the one next door a couple of years ago.
Wow.
He put the plywood cabinets in.
Looks good.
That
Looks
was
really
him.
good.
All the plywood work.
Nice.
Yeah, he definitely enhanced the space. I think he just outgrew it. Personally, it's a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So and they have kids. So I think they needed a more traditional house with a traditional yard.
Well, let me just do the stats. So 1100 Montecito Drive. This is Montecito Heights. 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,071 square feet of living space. Good price, 999,000. 7,000 square foot lot. As Darren said, Hillside, definitely Hillside. And tonight, 5 to 7, first open house. And then on Saturday, 2 to 4 p.m. open house. Days on market so far 7. And let's see here. Lillian Pfaff is the seller's agent. So I think she's done one house up there, not too far away. But yeah, looks good, man. Looks really
Yeah.
good. I'm eager to see what this will end up at. Wow.
Yeah, I think
He pulled everything out, didn't he?
he did. Yeah, they really redid it.
Wow.
The one thing I'm really surprised to see them is not only do they have a real lawn, but they're showing with the sprinklers running. I don't know that that's
Right.
particularly PC there, man.
You're right. All right. Well, great. Anything else you wanted to see real quick? Or we're good?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, beautiful. Let me hide this. Let me go here. So, any parting wisdom, Darren, you want to give our people? Anything?
Holidays coming
I
up.
always do this to you. I'm sorry.
You do. It's all good. We've gotten some great properties for people in the holiday season. Only serious sellers list during the holidays.
Yep.
So if you've been on the fence for a little while, let's see where rates are at in November, December.
Yeah.
You might want to consider preparing to jump in.
Also too, just a quick trend, and I don't know, maybe it's a subject for next week, but definitely there are options for not only sellers in this market, but also buyers in the form of financing options that might be more tolerable for both sides. And we're starting to see that happening in listings and within our own business a little bit. So, call us. Let's look at your individual situation and see what might work. Because there are options. So, all right. Well, great.
Last thing, happy Halloween to everyone. As a part that will be on Monday.
God, it happens so fast, man.
It does.
Lord. What's your kid dressing up as?
I hear the wife says Charlie Brown.
Ah, perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Well, look, guys, have a great time. We'll see you next week, Thursday, 2:00. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.